Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Kristen, this is my booktube, and in today's video we're going to be doing a little reading vlog slash crochet with me video. I have been in a reading slump for months at this point, honestly. It is and has been taking a toll on my reading goals for the year, so I need to do something to rectify that situation, and I feel like a reading vlog is going to be the best way to hold myself accountable to actually getting through some reading this week. And then as I'm reading those books, I do have some crochet projects that I would like to work on. I have never actually done any sort of craft fair or anything like that to try to sell some of the stuff that I crochet. I've made gifts for people and I've had people pay me back for like the yarn that I use to make things, but I've never actually like set up a booth at a craft fair to try and sell the things that I make. And every year in the month of December, my office, where I have my 9-to-5 job, does a holiday bazaar where different local businesses and people that work at the company that have little crafty side hustles can sell some of their products to other people in our office. And so this year I wanted to try and see if I can give that a go, kind of make it like a soft launch. It's a very low risk market because these are all people that I work with who, most of them, at least casually, we know of each other. So it's not like I'm just jumping off the ledge into the deep end by doing some big craft market. I really wanted to use this as an opportunity to just kind of like dip my toe in to see if it's something that, one, people would be interested in buying from me, and two, if it's something that I feel like I could handle. And I feel like doing a market is one of those things that just seems very overwhelming when I start to think about all of the little bits and pieces that go into running a successful booth at a market. But I do know people who have been involved in tabling at markets before, so that puts me a little bit at ease that I know people that have done it, so I know that it is something that is possible to do. And I've also been told by several people, both at work, friends, family, that they think that I should give that a go. So I decided that since I have a lot of reading to catch up on, and the deadline to sign up to be a vendor at this market is mid-November, I figured this is a perfect week for me to just sit down and see how much I can crochet as I'm listening to some audiobooks and basically do like a little market prep kind of video, even though this is like the lowest risk market prep you will probably find on YouTube, because like this is truly like baby's first art fair, because I've been to this bazaar several times, but I have never actually done any sort of tabling at it before. But I have a good list of things that I want to try to make. I have been really into making the little amigurumi plushies. I don't know why, I just enjoy doing those. And then I have a bunch of other patterns that I want to try out and see if they work for me, since I have a full month before the market. So yeah, that is pretty much the goal for this week. It's going to be a lot of crocheting and a lot of reading, if everything goes according to plan. I am going to be dog sitting at the later half of this week, so we will be changing filming location at some point, but I will still try to get at least some crocheting footage for you all so that we can keep up with what I'm crocheting this week. As far as what I will be reading, I do have a couple hours left of the book Carrie Soto is Back to finish. I think I have like 2-ish hours left, and I was listening to it on Spotify. And then I also have started re-listening to Troy by Stephen Fry so that I can listen to The Odyssey later on. And then I've also been thinking about just rereading Mythos and Heroes too, just to get a full recap of Greek mythology, I guess. So those are the books that I either already have borrowed from my library that I can listen to on audio, or that I am in the process of reading that I need to finish. I do think that tonight I want to focus on the Greek mythology, so I'm so sorry, Carrie Soto, but you're gonna have to wait at least another day because I want to listen to Troy. I think while I listen to Troy, I want to try to do a larger size sea turtle. You'll have to pardon him, I put his eyes on a little wonky, but I made this little cute little sea turtle the other day. This is the first time I've ever made a sea turtle. So I've tweaked the pattern that I used a little bit to make it a bit more to my liking. I made the shell a little taller I'm going to sew the fins on a bit better so they're not as floppy like this. And I'm also going to add a tail. But I made this sea turtle over the weekend, and I know the sea turtles are very popular. And then when I was looking around in my utility room this morning, I realized that I have more of the Bernat blanket yarn than I thought I did. So I thought it would be cute to do a sea turtle with this color as the body and this color for the shell. I initially got this color to make a UT blanket, but I think that it would be really cute as a turtle. So I want to try to use some of it and see how it turns out as a turtle. So I think that I'm gonna start working on that tonight. I don't know if I'll actually finish the turtle. I kind of just want to see how it goes crocheting with yarn this big and how it works up from this size if I just like increase the yarn and the hook size. I have been crocheting for a very long time. I'm not super used to using patterns for a lot of the things that I do. I did a lot of freehand crochet when I was like a teenager and stuff. I didn't really learn how to read patterns until the last couple years. So I have a tendency to like go off script a little bit when I'm doing an actual pattern if it's not turning out the way that I think would look good. So that's kind of what happened with this one. I did like follow along pretty much to the T on the initial pattern, and then I did like little tweaks afterwards when I was working up the other body parts to do more of them. So I'm basically just going to transfer those tweaks that I made to that pattern to this larger yarn. This does recommend using an 8mm crochet hook, which is a very large crochet hook for me. I usually use like a 4 to 4.5mm hook. I tend to like the smaller hooks more. I know that's crazy. A lot of people prefer using large crochet hooks, but I just like how neat they look when you use the smaller hooks. But I will follow what the label calls for, and we will have to reconvene to see if I actually like how it looks with the 8mm hook. Should be interesting. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into trying to create this turtle and listening to Troy by Stephen Fry. Hello everyone, checking back in. It is now Tuesday and I did not check in last night before heading to bed, but you would have seen me finishing up this turtle. He's not completely done yet just because he doesn't have any eyes yet, and I also have not given him a little tail, but he's pretty much completely done. I think he came out pretty good, especially because I basically just did a sea turtle from memory. I did this little guy following a pattern, and then I just kind of did it from memory for this one, taking some liberties where I felt were appropriate. I changed this edge of this shell a bit just so it looks a little cleaner. But yeah, I think he turned out really cute. And this is also the biggest plushie I've ever made, so that's also fun. And this is pretty much the only thing that I completed yesterday. It is after work now, and I haven't really done much crocheting today. I was able to do a little bit of work on this sleeve for a sweater that I've been working on for a very long time now. But I maybe only did like an inch or two of this before I turned on the camera to check in. But yeah, so that's pretty much all that I've done crochet wise. I am going to be heading to a dog sit for the weekend starting tomorrow. So I do want to spend some time tonight gathering up a bunch of different yarns so that I can have plenty to keep me busy over the weekend as I'm dog sitting. Because that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing, is doing a bunch of crocheting and listening to some audiobooks, because those are my priorities right now. And then speaking of my crocheting endeavors, I did get a delivery today and I ordered some little keychain rings so that I can try to make some little keychains out of some of the tiny plushies that I'm making. I have a little chicken that I need to put some safety eyes in and sew up, but I think that he would make a cute little keychain. And then I also got some safety eyes that are clear that you can either put these little colorful paper backings on, or what I've seen people doing is actually using glue, glitter, and paint and painting their own safety eyes. So I wanted to give that a go. Seeing as I'm starting to do some more plushies, I wanted to venture out into these kind of safety eyes just because I think they're so cute on the little plushies. So yeah, those are two exciting things that came in the mail today. And yeah, I have a lot of different patterns I want to try out. A good chunk of them are like really small projects, so I should be able to get a couple of them done in a short amount of time. And then I do also have a couple of bigger patterns that I purchased off of Etsy that I think are so cute, but I need to see if they're actually within my capability of completing. But at least I know I can make a pretty cute looking sea turtle. So that's something. He looks like a little baby. This is like that scene in The Lion King where Rafiki is holding Simba up in the air, except it's me and a sea turtle. But anyways, don't talk to me or my son ever again. So this turtle took me about 4 hours to complete, and during those 4 hours, I was only listening to Troy by Stephen Fry. So I am about, I believe, 65% of the way through Troy right now. It's a pretty easy read for me because one, I'm familiar with the story in general, and two, I've read Troy before, so this is truly a reread for me before I jump into listening to the Odyssey. And as for tonight, I think I want to try to make some of these little chickens. Maybe see about putting a couple of them on these little keychains. I think that that would be very cute. Maybe mess around with the sizes of them a bit. We'll see what I get up to. But I will be doing some crocheting, fear not. And as far as what I'm listening to, I think I'm just going to keep on trucking with Troy. I've been really into the Greek mythology rabbit hole as of late in a lot of aspects of my life. I've been listening to Epic the Musical. I've been reading this book. I've been talking to people about the Christopher Nolan Odyssey movie coming out. So like Greek mythology is just kind of all around me at this point. So I'm going to just keep running with that and keep on trucking through Troy for the rest of the evening, or at least the rest of the time that I'm going to spend crocheting. We will see how long that will be because I am fairly tired. It is only about like 6 p.m. right now, but I don't know why. I'm just very sleepy today and I really would like to go to bed, but I can't go to bed this early. So I'm going to try to stay up as long as I can doing some crochet, and then I will probably sneak off to bed at a fairly early hour tonight. That is pretty much the plan for the evening, and I guess we can go ahead and just get to it. Alrighty, it's time for another check-in. Please ignore the state of my apartment right now. It is very chaotic at the moment. I am trying to work from home today. People have been in and out of my apartment doing some repairs to the drywall because it's a whole thing. I had a leak that Took a couple months to get patched up, and now that it is patched up, they are fixing the drywall that was damaged from the leak. And on top of all of that, I have been trying to get packed up to go and do a dog sit for the next week. So I figured while I am taking a break from work and running around like a chicken with my head cut off, I should also sit down and do a little check-in, because I did not check in last night before I went to bed. I actually completely fell asleep on my couch around 10 o'clock and then woke up at 4:30 still on my couch. So yeah, we didn't get a check-in last night because I was dead to the world. But I did do some crocheting. I did a little bit of work on a sweater that I've been working on for months. I'm pretty sure I talked a little bit about that. And then after I got bored with that, because a sweater is just a lot of the same stitches over and over again and can get very repetitive and very boring, I decided to try out some more mini amigurumi plushies. And I made a couple different ones. The first one I made was this like tiny little chicken. I haven't done any eyes or anything yet. At first, I couldn't find the backs for my safety eyes, and I was like, oh, it's fine, I'll just embroider some on. And obviously I haven't done that yet. He still needs both a beak and eyes, but you can still tell what he is with the comb and stuff like that. But I thought that came out super cute. I also got some little keychain things, so I was thinking he could be a really cute little like keychain slash bag accessory. So this is the size that it came out with me following the pattern that I saw on Instagram. And then after that, I decided to try to size it up and make a larger one that looks very similar. And this is what came of that. Same situation, he needs eyes and a beak, but you can still tell what he's meant to be at the end of the day. Then I decided to make one of these little mushroom guys that I've seen a lot of people making, and he came out pretty cute. But I really like this second one that I made. I used larger safety eyes and I placed the blush a little bit differently, and I just think this one is so freaking cute. So as I make more of these in the future, I think that this is going to be the template rather than this guy. I just think he looks a lot cuter with the bigger eyes, and I like the blush placement a lot on the second one. But yeah, so those are all of the things that I made last night. As far as reading goes, I believe I'm about 80% of the way through Troy. So I just kept on trucking with that book, as I stated before. Didn't quite finish it, but I did get to basically the end of the Trojan War in that book, and it should be wrapping up pretty soon. And then I think I may dip back into Mythos before I hop straight into the Odyssey, just because I wanted to reread Mythos anyway, and it came up as available through my library, so I went ahead and borrowed it. So I think I may just dive on into that, and then we can move into the Odyssey. We're gonna be full on deep diving into the Greek mythology realm, specifically the Stephen Fry retelling of the Greek mythology stories in this video. So I hope you guys are ready for that journey, because we're on it, we're in it, and we're going to see it through. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this check-in. I need to go check on my food that's cooking in the kitchen. And yeah, I will check in with you a bit later and let you know what else I got going on. Friends, we have made it to the end of this reading vlog slash crochet with me video, and it is time to round everything up and tell you exactly what I got through in this video. So let's go ahead and start with talking about the books that I finished during this little challenge. First off, I did start and finish Troy by Stephen Fry. That was a reread for me, so we already know that I enjoy this book, and I really was doing a reread of that book because I did get the Odyssey for my birthday, so I want to dive into that, but I felt like I could use a little bit of a refresher with the Iliad and also Mythos in general before diving into the Odyssey. So I did finish Troy, and I also started Mythos, but I'm only about like 2 or 3 hours into that audiobook, so we did not finish that one. Then I also finished the last like 2 hours that I had left in Carrie Soto is Back, and I did really enjoy that book. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 in the end, just because though I enjoyed it, it was not my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book in this little universe that she's created. I definitely liked Malibu Rising and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo way more than I liked Carrie Soto is Back. And to be fair, a good chunk of that could be held over from when I read Malibu Rising, because I really did not like Carrie in that book. And though there was like some character growth from her in Carrie Soto is Back, and you got to understand her a little bit more, I still don't think she grew enough as a person throughout the story to do a complete 180 on the way that I felt about her in Malibu Rising. So that's part of the reason why I gave it a 4. The story itself was really good. It was entertaining. I'm not really a tennis person, but it was still entertaining for me nonetheless, even with my limited knowledge. So yeah, really enjoyed that book. And now I believe the only one I have left in this little Taylor Jenkins Reid universe is Daisy Jones and the Six, which I have been saying that I'm going to read for literal years now. So maybe that'll be a book that I read in the coming weeks, because Lord knows I still got to make some progress on my reading goals for the year. Don't think I'm going to actually like catch up and make it to 50 books this year. I think I'm sitting at like 28 right now, so don't think we're going to be doing that much reading, but we will be catching up as much as we can in the next month and a half that we have left in the year. And yeah, the only other book that I listened to this week that I didn't get to finish was To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'm about 60 something percent of the way through it, maybe closer to 70. So we're getting close to the end of that book. They're, you know, doing the whole courtroom theater right now with the Yule family, and they just finished questioning the dad of the Yule family. I don't remember his name. And now they're questioning the daughter. Maybelle, is that her name? Maribel? Something like that. They're questioning the Yules nonetheless. So we're getting close to the end of that book, but I did not finish it in this video for you all. So all in all, I finished 2 books, and then I also started 2 books in this video. So basically 1 in, 1 out kind of vibe. And yeah, we're going to continue listening to probably To Kill a Mockingbird for the rest of today before going fully back into Mythos and getting to the Odyssey. So look forward to that, because I will probably just start filming another reading vlog immediately after this one. So don't be surprised if you see me looking exactly like this in next week's video, because we have a lot of reading to do and a lot of crocheting to do still. So this is going to be a staple of this channel for the next couple weeks. So just bear with me while I am trying to play massive catch up in both departments over the next few weeks. And that segues us pretty nicely into what all I crocheted this week. So like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I did mostly stick to smaller plushies and things like that, though I did get kind of, I don't want to say burnt out. I didn't get burnt out on it because I still enjoy doing them, but when you do like 12 of one pattern in a row, you get kind of tired of doing that pattern. So I did change course a little bit. I ended up making this bandana as one of the things that was not plushie related. So we did get some other things going in this video other than just plushies. But because I had literally no plushies for this upcoming market, that is why I wanted to start with those, so that I could just knock them out quickly, and then I could focus on more things like bandanas and coasters and bags and all of that fun stuff. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start with the pieces that I had already kind of started before the beginning of this video, and that would be my little sea turtles. So these were like partially done. Basically, I had all of the fins made and the heads made, but I didn't have any of the shells, and obviously I didn't have the bodies done because the body is how you connect everything. And I was a bit overzealous in my batch making of these little body parts, and I made too many. I ended up making 20 because I was like, oh, it'd be cute to have every color combination of these chenille yarns that I have. Not thinking about the fact that that means that I had to make 20 turtles. So I stalled a bit between the making of the fins and the heads and then connecting all of the bodies, but they are all connected as of now. But these are the only 6 that I have stuffed and ready to go. The other ones are all done. They kind of look like little Build-A-Bears because they just have like a little hole in the middle where I can stuff them and then just sew them all together. I just haven't done that yet. Mostly because I was running low on stuffing while I was at my dog sit, and I wanted to use it in some other projects before I went ahead and stuffed these. But now I have plenty of stuffing. I went to Michael's after my dog sit was over, and I can get to stuffing these and finishing them off this week. So another thing that you will probably see in next week's video. But yes, all in all, I made 20 of these little sea turtles for the craft market. Then the next thing you would have seen me making in this video are these little mushroom guys. And I believe that this was a pattern that I found on Instagram. I'll put the Instagram handle at the bottom of this video, and I'll try to put it in the description as well if I can remember. But yeah, I just thought that these guys were so cute. I see a lot of people that do markets making these, and they seem to be very popular. Makes sense because they are very cute. And I did end up making 12 of them. So we have 12 of these little mushy boys to potentially sell at the Christmas market at work. Then I ended up making 6 of these little octopi. These like mini octopi are quite popular at markets as well from what I've seen on YouTube. And I didn't really use a pattern for this. I just kind of free-handed a little dome and then did 8 bobble stitches on the bottom. So I just kind of made sure that I had a multiple of 8 going into it so that I would have enough loops to do 8 tentacles at the end. So there is no pattern for this. I just free-handed these and then wrote down what I did and did it on the other ones. So I guess you could say I did my own pattern in a sense, even though it's not like a fully written pattern. It's just scribbled down on a piece of scratch paper. But in any case, I made these in 6 different colors, and I fully completed 2 of each color with eyes, stuffing, sewed them up to where they are just like ready to go. But I also have more pre-made in this bag, and I ended up doing 5 of each color just so I had a couple of each. And I may end up making more before the market. I just thought that 5 of each color was a good starting point for these. Then another thing that I made, as you would have seen, was this like mini chicken. I still haven't embroidered the eyes and the beak on yet. I do have black yarn here, and I went out and got some yellow yarn so that I can finish this guy and actually make him have a face so that he looks a little more like a chicken. I mean, he does look like a chicken, but I just feel like he'll look better with a face. And then similar to how I did the octopi, I ended up prepping a bunch of little bodies with the tan yarn that I had so that they're basically ready to go. And then I can just stuff them, sew them up, put the comb on, and do all of the eyes kind of in one go instead of just doing pieces at a time. And then while I was at Michael's, I also did get another color of yarn. This is kind of like a variegated speckled white yarn. This is a kind of yarn that I see people use a lot with the chickens, so I decided to make bodies out of these as well. I don't know if I said, but I crocheted 10 of these bodies, and I think I did 2 of these over the last few days. So I don't have a ton of these, but I did just get the yarn, so it makes sense why I haven't made that many of these yet, because I haven't had the yarn that long. But yeah, so our prep on these like mini chickens is going well. Then I also made some of these, oh, he's a little squished. Then I also made some of these like itty bitty little whales because I wanted a couple things that were like around the same size so that I can have like a keychain and bag charm selection, and then like a mini plushie section and a medium plushie section, just so I don't have like one thing of each size or only one thing that's really small. I just want to be able to have like a variety of things for people to choose from. So I'm trying to make sure I have a couple things of each size, and these whales are going to be one of my mini items that I'm gonna have on my table. And once again, I did prep some whales as well. I basically just did the first half of a whale in each of the colors that I had. So all I have to do is put in the safety eyes, do the white portion and stuff them, which will take like, I don't even think it'll take 5 minutes per little whale because these are so small. But yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and prep all of the bodies so that I could just quickly go through, stuff them, and finish them off. Yeah, and that's pretty much all of the in progress things that are in this little bag, as well as this little bag. Then the last of the mini plushies that I made were these little gummy bears. I only made 2 so far, but I do think that they're really cute, and I do want to make them in other colors. This is a pattern that I also kind of modified a little bit because I just thought it would be cute if they had little tails. The original pattern didn't have tails for them because gummy bears don't usually have tails, but I don't know, I just thought it looked cute with a little tail, so I added them to these 2. I haven't made these in any other colors yet, but I do want to put these with like the whales and the chickens, so I do want to make these in pretty much every color that I've made everything else in so far, so that I have a cohesive color palette for all of the mini items that I'm offering. So the first thing you would have seen me making was this jumbo turtle, and I still think that he turned out kind of cute, but there are a couple things that I would change. Since I did the other turtles, I have done the fins differently. I now have safety eyes that I would like to use on one of these, but for this one I'll have to embroider eyes. So I may end up making another one of these and doing some slight tweaks to it, but this is the one that I made for this week. And I still think he looks cute, even though his fins are a little differently placed than the other turtles that I've made. I also made these little peas in a pod because I found the pattern on Instagram and I thought they looked real cute. So I ended up making a pair. I haven't woven in my last end yet, but other than that, they're complete. And I do want to make more of these because I do think that they're really cute and something that people will probably enjoy. I just haven't gotten around to making more of them. I've literally only made one more pea, and I think that these may have been some safety eyes that I ran out of as well, but I have since ordered more, so I have plenty of safety eyes to do more peas in a pod now. And the biggest thing that I worked on this week was I started making this Winnie the Dragon pattern that I bought off of Etsy from Red Mills Crochet. And I got the body all the way done, as well as the head, the ears, the legs, all of that stuff. I'm not holding up all the little leg pieces, but you can see the head and the body that I finished so far. And the only reason I haven't finished this yet is because one, I needed a different kind of yarn for like the back piece because they use this like really fluffy chenille yarn that I did not have. And I thought about just doing a different color of this yarn, but I really liked the way it looked with the really fluffy yarn, so I did pick some up at Loops and Threads. And I have since picked some up from Michael's so that it can have this nice blush pink spine and things like that. And the other reason why I haven't finished it yet is because I really want to do some of those painted safety eyes that I was talking about earlier for this dragon. And the size eyes that I wanted to use for this came in the mail while I was at my dog sit. So I had one of my friends pick it up off of my porch so it wasn't just sitting here while I wasn't home. And she's going to give that to me at work tomorrow. So I should be able to paint her some eyes so that she looks super cute and has really pretty eyes to go with this beautiful pattern. But yeah, this is definitely the biggest thing that I've ever made because this is even bigger than the turtle was, and it's not even finished yet. It's probably about halfway considering how much goes into the actual assembly and embroidery of this. But so far, I think I've spent like 5-ish hours making this between like the 2 or 3 days that I've been working on it. The pattern's really easy to follow in my opinion, and it's pretty clear instructions, and I had a decent time making it. I could watch YouTube, listen to books while I was reading the pattern, so that's always a plus when I'm able to multitask like that. And then after doing all of those plushies, I did change gears just a little bit. I made this bandana like I was talking about earlier. I'll put in a better picture of it laying flat so you can actually see what it looks like. And then I found some Christmas yarn at Michael's. This is called like Jolly Ombre, I think. Yeah, this is called Jolly Ombre from Loops and Threads. It's just like the basic cotton yarn. And I've been making some little Christmas coasters out of it. This is what I want them to look like in the end. I just did a little, I believe this is called like a crab stitch or something, reverse single crochet, something like that, around the edge, just because I feel like it gives it a nice little border. And so I do still have to do that on all of these, but I think that it looks really cool with the splotchy pattern. It's more of a like low-key Christmas vibe than some of the other coasters that I've seen. But yeah, this is one of the other things that I've been working on. And then I have like a couple half-finished mesh market bags that I just haven't completed yet for whatever reason. So we do have plenty to still work on for next week's video. So fret not, there is plenty of reading and crochet content in the pipeline, because that is basically what I'm going to be doing over the next couple weeks. So strap in for the ride. But yeah, it was definitely a very productive week for me. I did want to finish more books than I did, but to be honest, there were just some days where I just did not feel like listening to any of the audiobooks that I was currently listening to. And I didn't want to just pick up another one, because I feel like I need to finish the ones that I start before I pick up a fourth audiobook, because that's just ridiculous. But I still got through quite a bit of audiobook listening, and I definitely got through a lot of crochet. So that is good on both fronts in my opinion. That's gonna be it for this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. Let me know. You should also subscribe while you're down there so that you know when I put out new videos. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!